So we're talking transfers today. We have to talk transfers today with only 1 week to go until Newcastle face off against Liverpool at St James's Park for our opening Premier League game. And with the first signing of the Joelinton era due to be confirmed, Ross Wilson and co need to get their ducks in a row and start bringing players through the door as quickly as possible. We're going to talk about linked players. We're going to talk about injured players. We're going to go through all of it today. But if you're new around here, I'm Adam. This is Two for Joy. Get down there, like, hype, subscribe, do all the good things. Most of all, hit me up in the comments. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. We are 300 subs away from our 4,000 mark. So if you're new around here, get down there, give me a sub, give us a thumbs up. And hopefully, guys, we'll get some deals done before the end of this window. Otherwise, let's get into it. So where we're going to start, Matthias Jaisler's first signing, the newest signing of a new era, set to be announced. Amar Dedic, 23 years old. As a profile, this guy is absolutely perfect for what we need. The cover we need for both sides in fullback, the left back, the right back roles. He's versatile enough to provide cover both sides. He's already had significant senior and international experience, and he has familiarity of playing under Matthias Jaisler. This is the perfect fit, a decent fee, a fantastic player. This is the type of signing Newcastle should be making. And the reason I say should be making is because it's about spending money well in this window, not about bringing in the volume of players just to fill gaps. It's about spending well. And I want to move on to Joe Willock and Joelinton, the midfield problem, with both of them picking up injuries and suddenly Newcastle's midfield options looking as sparse as they come. And it really worries me, this, because realistically, I felt like Joe Willock, we've been offered a fee from Besiktas earlier in the season and Newcastle turned it down and asked for 20 million. We've now got an injured Joe Willock who will struggle to move on and will be in the last year of his contract. And what annoys me with this most is if you'd have asked me, I'd take a bag of chips and a pot of curry sauce for Joe Willock. Honestly, I think this kid is done. I think the injuries are a real concern. I think he's had problems season on season. And although he can be a good player when he's fit, he's never really been fit long enough to return to that first season where we had him on loan. And I'll be honest, I see a lot of the problems with our midfield. And I'll use Joe Willock as the example to draw Jacob Ramsey. I feel Jacob Ramsey is exactly the same player as Joe Willock. And a lot of people will disagree. They'll say Jacob Ramsey has the potential to be something bigger or something better. I genuinely don't believe this. I believe Jacob Ramsey is, for use of better words, a squad player at best. And I believe that we should be bringing in talent that is better than this. And the reason I'll draw this comparison to Joe Willock is because if I look across our squad, I would say Lewis Miley and Sean Sturr are better players than Jacob Ramsey. And they're both, realistically, if we were to sign them from other teams, Sean Sturr commanded a lot lower fee than Jacob Ramsey. He commands a lot lower wages than Jacob Ramsey. And I believe he has a higher ceiling and he raises the floor of this team more than Jacob Ramsey. Like I say, let me know in the comments if you disagree. But moving on from this, the first player linked, and this is, I literally put my my head in my hands when I saw this. Christopher Nkunku. Talent versus need is what I'm going to say. And undoubtedly, he is a talented player. But his injury record, spending significant money on this player, is a massive risk. And his recent career has been so inconsistent. And matched with his level of reputation compared to his output, I think I can understand why people would say this is a transfer. I can't understand why people would say this is a transfer for Newcastle. And looking at his profile, I'll quickly get his profile up. Yeah, 32 appearances, 7 goals, 3 assists in the league last season for AC Milan. And I'll be honest, it just fills me with dread signing a player at 28 years old who will command big wages for a decent fee. I just think this is a non-starter from the off, and it draws me on to the next speculation. And I know this has been doing the rounds and there's a lot of mixed feeling around this, but João Palhinha, the short-term fix in my opinion, 31 years old, he obviously would raise the floor and raise this midfield. He's got Premier League experience. He has the physicality to fill out the role we need. I understand why Newcastle would look at this as an option, but I don't understand why we would go for this as an option. 31 years old. I don't want to see Newcastle going into this window looking for experience in all the wrong places. And in my opinion, the same as Hojbjerg, 31 years old, you're going to pay £20 million. You're going to get 2 seasons out of him on high wages, and you're going to have no sell-on value. And with the climate of SCR and the way that Newcastle are heading, I genuinely believe there is limited opportunity for development. It could become an expensive short-term fix. Newcastle need players that add value to the team, but also add value in the market. And I believe both João Palhinha and Hojbjerg, they're both the wrong fit for what we need. And it kind of moves me on to the player who I would reference in comparison to these guys, James Garner. Now, James Garner might command a slightly higher fee. You might even have to go to 60 million to get James Garner. But at 25 years old, he's experienced in the Premier League. He got 7 assists, 3 goals last season. He played 41 games, 3,714 minutes. James Garner is a guy that can sit in a double pivot and you know you don't need to mop up after him. He's a guy that will get stuck into challenges. He's got the potential to have a higher peak than any of these players. I genuinely believe that. And I don't know why a young Premier League proven midfielder who's in the right ballpark for you to make more money on him. He's physically and technically suited to English football. And he's versatile and capable of playing multiple positions. Why aren't Newcastle targeting someone like James Garner? And I know that this might be a fee issue, but it's about spending the money wisely. And this is where I really feel Newcastle, we look like we're clutching at straws to bring people in quickly. And if we go into the last week of this window, panic buying, we've seen what panic buying does you before. And this is where I'd say I'd compare Jacob Ramsey. Does Jacob Ramsey offer you as much as James Garner? Not in a million years. And I'll use this as an example. Do you think Jacob Ramsey offers you as much as Hayden Hackney, who's just signed for Everton? Because I personally don't. And the fee that was commanded for Hackney was nowhere near what we paid for Jacob Ramsey. This mismanaged 2 seasons of signings is what's left us in this position, and we need to get a grip of this and start putting this right quickly. I mean, I believe Hayden Hackney offers much more potential in the long term than a 31-year-old with experience to plug a hole for the next season or season and a half. I think Everton are doing smart business. I think Newcastle need to look at it and do smart business too. And it brings me on to the next person we've had linked. And this is Georges Mikautadze. and 25 years old. He's an experienced but still has significant years ahead of him. Barcelona have also been linked to Mikautadze, looking if Julian Alvarez doesn't pan out and doesn't come off for Barcelona. Mikautadze, 16 goals last season, 6 assists in 2,874 minutes. This kid is class. He is a talent, but the links we've got to him, is he the right player? Do we need another striker? Some people say he can sit as a second striker and play in that 10 role. It's not really the style that is suited to him. And if Mikautadze is the guy coming in, then there probably needs to be somebody going out. But also I draw from the right-hand side, Jacob Murphy. Now, Jacob Murphy had an improved game against Strasbourg. It's Strasbourg. We still lost to Strasbourg on penalties. And realistically, Jacob Murphy is not the solution. I'd even rather see Willock play out on the right. And I've said this numerous times. He's physical. He's fast. He can cross the ball. He causes problems for defences. And the size of the guy alone offers us something different. He can come in off the right like he did against Manchester United and score a wonder goal. The problem with Osula is consistency. And we'll see whether Matthias Jaisler can get that out of him. But if we were looking for a like-for-like quick replacement for Jacob Murphy, get him out the door, Tom Fellows at Southampton, he won't command a huge fee. He's a decent right winger. He's young. He offers us something progressive going forward. He's a decent crosser of the ball. There's development potential. And he's used to English football and the physicality. The overall argument of this that is killing me inside watching us go through this transfer window with Ross Wilson and co not getting, like I say, getting their ducks in a row, is Newcastle need 3 or 4 players through the door, but they can't simply go out and just target anybody for experience. This needs to be somebody that fits the system. They need to fit the mould of Matthias Jaisler's philosophy, and Matthias Jaisler needs to be at the forefront of those decisions. We gave all the power to Eddie Howe to make the decisions, and it fared us well to start with. Matthias Jaisler needs to be given all the power to suit his philosophy to rebuild in the early stages, and then we can look at bringing in players that will gently ease into the mould. They cannot buy whoever's available. They have to buy what fits the system. And I genuinely think Mikautadze, great if we're looking for a striker. James Garner, great if we're looking for a defensive midfielder. There are a huge number of people. Antonio Mango highlighted Ethan Nwaneri is available. This is a guy that has the technical ability. We may not be able to sign him straight off. We may be able to bring him in on a loan. But Newcastle need to highlight the free transfer market. They need to highlight the loan market. Don't always go straight into paying big fees up front to bring players through. We can stretch this budget and bring in 4 or 5 players if we comb through and look at players that are suited to this style. They don't need to spend less money. They need to spend the money intelligently. And we don't just need 3 or 4 signings. We need the right 3 or 4 signings. That's what it really comes down to. Newcastle have got the money. The question is, will they spend it correctly? And will we get these deals done before the end of the window? If you've enjoyed the video, guys, most of all, hit me up in the comments. But otherwise, like, subscribe, like I say, do all the good things. And let me know, not only if you think Dedic is going to be a fantastic signing like I do, but let me know if you think Newcastle are highlighting and targeting the right players, or whether we're going to end this window with disappointment and leaving ourselves in a position where it's going to be very hard to stay in this league or retain a position that is decent for our reputation. I want Matthias Jaisler to have a good start. I don't want us to get drummed by Liverpool. Like I say, hit me up in the comments, guys, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.